Hello viewers. So far we have seen the module number 7 for the data manipulation language commands. We have seen the module 7.1 which was DML commands. Now let us just go through the module number 7.2 DML or DDL triggers. Now in this module what we will be learning through is in the DML trigger we will be learning about the for or after trigger. Then we will be learning about the instead of trigger, and then we will learn the one which is the DDL trigger, the logon trigger, okay, which was not covered in the earlier module. I am just trying to wrap it up here itself so that you can learn it for the usage purpose. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, let us start understanding the first kind of trigger, which is the DML trigger. What are the DML triggers? Why do we use it, right? So the first thing is to understand is like DML triggers are basically a special type of store procedure, which we would be learning in the subsequent section. But consider it's like a system kind of a store procedure, a special kind of store procedure which gets or it automatically gets effected, means it automatically gets executed as and when the DML operation is performed on a table or a view. Okay, so say like a DML language, which you already know that what all commands that will be covered, which is like insert, update or delete commands, drives this DML trigger basically. Okay, now affects to which object? It affects to the table or a view. So it can be defined on a table or a view. Okay, and then frequently used for enforcing the business rules or data integrity. Say like you have a need to ensure the data quality purpose, right? You want to make sure that no duplicate data, or maybe very quality data that your table needs to allow it to be inserted, or maybe at a particular time only appropriate records needs to be remained or retained within a particular table. If the parent table is cleaned up, then the dependent child record needs also to be removed. So it's like a cascade kind of trigger, right? So in that case that could be used in that case. But there are basically two kind of DML triggers here we are trying to understand. Okay, so to work on that DML trigger, first of all we need to understand the two virtual tables that SQL Server maintains within the system. So first one we already discussed in the previous module as well. In the DML operation we saw that for the output clause we were using the insert A tables, right? What insert A tables are, we can also know it as magic table. Okay, so basically it retains the data for the current transaction, whether it is an insert statement or it's an update statement. Okay, for insert statement, whatever the new record that you would be inserting, that inserted record will be stored into this table. And the updated record values, whatever you have updated, the fields that you will update, right? So that updated field along with the existing fields will be stored into the inserted table. Okay, then deleted is what? It will store the records that you have it deleted, or it could store the data which was updated like before an update, whatever was the data that will be stored into the deleted. Okay, so before an update statement executes or after an update statement executes, the old values will go into deleted table and the new values will be inserted into this inserted table. Okay, so that is the purpose of this two virtual table or a magic table. The syntax for this DML trigger is very simple and very basic. Okay, so let's just understand. So the create will be the standard keyword, create or alter meaning modify. Modify the trigger definition, so in which you could use the first of all the schema, maybe your DBO or any particular schema that you want to create the trigger within, so that you would define here. Then you will give the trigger name respectively. On, it can be applied onto the table or it could be applied onto the view, right? And for or after, whichever keyword you would like to use, in that case you would be putting in the definition. And then instead of, so after will be used in case of like after the DML operation is performed, then only the trigger will be fired. And instead of trigger will be like before your DML operation gets executed, it will execute it before that DML operation gets performed. Okay, so it is just holding up your input or holding up that DML operation itself and performs the trigger definition first. After the trigger is performed, then only it works on to that. Okay, so that's the or maybe instead of executing your real DML operation, it will perform the DML trigger itself. Okay, consider it in that way. Now it is performed on what? It is performed on DML operations like insert, update and delete, and as is the standard keyword that it would require, and within and after that, right after that, you will write the definition of the trigger. That's it. That's the simple syntax. And now let us just start to understand the first kind of DML trigger, which is after trigger. After trigger fires after the DML operation. Okay, so let us just create the required tables for this example purpose. So I'll be using one table here, table color log, for the logging purpose, so that we can log the records, maybe the updated records or maybe the deleted records. We could log it into the table for that purpose, right? So that's where I will be using it. And apart from that, this is my main table on which like we'll be performing the DML operations. It could be like insert update operation or maybe update operation, right? That we will be performing on to that. So, or maybe the delete operation, right? So all of that we will be performing onto it. So now let us just understand the let us just execute it first, right? So tables will be created, right? Tables are created now, and now what we need to create is we need to create the real trigger, right? Trigger is like DML, so we need to select the particular database under which you would like it to be created. Here I have already selected the database, like using the learning DB I want to create it, right? So I have used that, and then I am going to write this definition, right? Create or alter the trigger. Then you give always like a best practice. It is recommended that you use some kind of prefix so that you can classify between the system triggers or maybe the other kind of system store procedures to from that you can classify it differently, and you know that yeah, it's a system trigger or maybe it's a user defined trigger, right? After, it's like a kind of after trigger, right? And then you will give the table name on which you are applying this trigger, right? So it will be easily identified, like yeah, this is the table color on which you are applying the after trigger, correct? So that will help you. And then after on keyword, you will put in the table name with a schema to that, like it's a DBO schema that we'll be using. After is the keyword, like on after means like after completion of or on after execution of which DML operation you would like. You can apply it only on insert, you could apply it only on update, or you could apply it on delete only. But here for an example, I'm just covering all three of them together so that you understand all three of them can be used independently, or any one of them you need, then you can use, or you will know the usage of it, right? So let's just understand now. After that, there will be keyword is as, and then begin keyword will be required. So it will write the definition. First statement we are writing here is set no count on, just to disable the calculation or just counting of the transactions or the number of number of records that you see usually, right? Like number of records affected, that is becoming true in that case. Like we are disabling it by saying it no count on. So it will disable that notification after execution of this statement or trigger, right? And then we are writing first case. First case is for what purpose? First case is what we are writing for the insert command, right? Whenever there is an insert operation performed, whenever there is an insert DML operation performed, after trigger will go or jump into this section. Okay, how will it, what it will do is it will apply that insert into table color log. What we are doing here is we are retaining an entry into the logging table so that it will log all the newly inserted records into this color log table for our record purposes or verification or auditing or tracking purposes, correct? So we have created the definition earlier. What we will be storing into that is the newly created ID. Supposingly if it is identity inserted record, then it will put in that ID value it will put in that action type. Action type is hard coded, we are putting in as insert keyword, and then the new value of a color is what we are passing it from the inserted table to this table, correct? Now here in the important thing is there, like here we are using not only the inserted table, we are applying the left join with the deleted table also, and we are joining both these tables on an ID column, right? Why? Because when there is a deleted record, if it is not present, means there is no record to be deleted, means there is definitely a record there in the inserted table only, right? And when there is a record only in the inserted table, means it is a new record. Because see, there are two possibilities in which the deleted table will have a data, either if it was an update statement or it was a delete statement, correct? In both of these cases you would use the deleted table. So none of the cases are here, as we are applying only an insert statement. For that reason, the deleted table will have no records within itself, and during this transaction, then it will check for this condition, and this condition will become true, that deleted ID is null in that case, right? Because the new record that you insert, there is nothing to be deleted, right? Or nothing to be updated. For that reason, this statement will be executed. Now in the second case, we will be checking about the update statements. Supposingly, if you you did not perform the insert statement, but you perform the update statement, then this part of the code will be executed. It will definitely check all these three definitions every time. Whenever your DML operation performed, then every time it will go through each and every conditions and each and every statements, the DML commands it will go through, right? But it will apply only to the ones which are relevant. Okay, so your definition of the trigger needs to be foolproof. It should not have any mistake within that, so that otherwise it will cause a very mess for you. Okay, so just try to be very test it very thoroughly, check it for each and every test cases that are possible, so that you don't make any mistake out there, and accidentally you won't miss the data also, right? So since we are maintaining everything in the log table, we are safe in that hand. But still it's better, because like suppose if the data gets deleted from the original table, then also we are recording here in the logging, so that way we are safe onto that, right? So let's just understand like what is the update do. So in the color log, the same table we'll use. There are different fields that we have given. Action type will give the update column. Old name will give me the old value, means the color name. Suppose say the color was yellow and you updated it with green. So what will happen is the old yellow color, means the existing yellow color, will go into the deleted table. That is why we are writing the deleted dot name here. Okay, always remember the old values of the existing record will get into the deleted table, so you need to refer from that deleted table. The names of the column will remain same from those virtual tables, okay, as those were in the original table. Okay, so if the original table had the column name as name, then you would refer to the deleted dot name. Here we have given an alias to that, since the table names are big, so we do not want to directly use the table name, we want to use this aliases instead. For that reason, we are writing that aliases dot the column name. Okay, then that will be the new name, which is what you have updated in that update statement. Whatever the name that you updated with, right? The color name you have put in, like instead of yellow, you passed the green. So that green value will be a part of your inserted name column. Okay, so that is the purpose. So from inserted table, now here in this case, you would apply inner join. Carefully understand. Why? Because here there will be a record available in both of these tables, correct? Record needs to be available in inserted table as well as in the deleted table, because the deleted record would get into the deleted table and the updated values will go into the inserted table. For that reason, we need to put up a join based on their ID columns only. Okay, clear? And in the previous case, why did we apply left join for that? You understand that, right? Like there was no record at all, there was no update, there was no delete. So it was very clear cut that even though we applied the join, everything from the inserted table will flow through. But in the case when the inserted record will flow through, there will be no record available in the deleted table. For that reason, this will be null, right? So that was the second point update. And then the third point, let us understand like why do we apply the delete command. Now delete command is what we will be applying in the case of DML operation, the delete command. So it will insert the new record, it will insert the record which is deleted, right? So ID will store the ID value of the deleted record, action type will call the delete as a keyword in that, and then the deleted name will hold the old name. Suppose say like we updated in the previous statement, say like from yellow to green, and then that green record is what we are deleting in the third transaction, which is my delete statement. Then my delete name will give me the delete value, and that delete green value will be inserted into this old name column, okay, from the inserted table. And here you see the difference again. Previously we applied the inserted because it had everything into that inserted table, there was nothing in the deleted table. Now the thing is reverse. We did not swap the tables instead, because otherwise if you want to swap the tables you could keep the same join, but if you want to keep the same table sequencing, then better you change the joining type, which will be right join. Now because now if you deleted the record, there will be nothing left for this particular transaction. Always make sure or understand that when you perform a DML operation, say like insert, update or delete, at one point of time, whatever the select statement, whatever the insert statement, update statement or delete statement is running, any respective statements are executed, then only that respective statement related transaction or related records only will be stored into these tables. Okay, for that reason, say like when you are deleting something from a table, there will be nothing in this inserted table, because you don't have any new records, you don't have any existing record that you are deleting, or maybe there is nothing like an updated record so that you will be deleting, right? So nothing will be there in this inserted, everything will be fairly in the deleted table. That is what you will be deleting in. And in that case, what will be the case? Inserted record will have the null ID for that, right? That's it for this after trigger. So now let us just, if I did not execute the definition, let me execute it first, then we will test it, right? So now let us test everything one by one. Insert statement. Now we don't have any records within this color table, right? So let's just check before we execute this insert statement and everything, right? Both this table, like the logging table also need not to have any, and color table, the original table should not have any record, and then logging table should not have any record within, right? Nothing is there in these tables. Now let us just insert this, run this statement only, insert statement. Okay, what we are doing is we are inserting a color called purple into this table color table. Let's just execute. Okay, one record, one row is affected. Now run both this table to see. The color table has got one entry, and then the auditing table also got one entry. Now auditing table will tell you that precisely which log ID, what was the ID name that record has inserted into that color table, what is the action type that is performed, the insert statement. There was nothing in the old value, the new value only, since it is a new record, action date, on which date it has performed, timestamp also it comes because it's like a complete get date function, so that will be there, and who performed that action. So basically the SQL logging, whoever has executed, maybe you have the service account, maybe you are using your personal account, right? Maybe you have the Windows account using through your projects. So in that case, all of those respected like the IDs will be passed into that. How come it gets passed is because of that, like yeah, my definition itself will store the system user for that. Okay, so you don't need to pass while the triggers are executed. Automatically it's the default value, as and when the entry will trigger, then insert into this table, by default the system default value of the system user, whoever has logged in or whoever has executed this transaction, is username will be inserted into this action by user column. and likewise it will insert the default date while the transaction was executed. Okay, so into the action date it will input the get date. Fine. And log id will be auto seed, like it will just keep on incrementing, starting with the first record it will keep on incrementing by 1. Okay, so now you understood everything from the insert perspective. Same way we will apply the update statement. Update will be what? Like previously I did the purple, I inserted one record called purple as a color, then I want it to be updated. So what I will write, very simple statement I am writing just so you understand the concept. We could use very complex example also, but here there is no point of explaining you the complexity. Just the simplicity will help you understand the concept. The concept understanding is very much important. For that reason I am putting in very small or very like a college level examples I am taking. So don't consider that I am just taking only the easy examples, but it is for the ease of your understanding mainly the concept. So where name equal to purple, so say like purple color is what you want it to be updated by green color, so then you are using the set name equal to green where the name is purple. So let's just update the statement. It will update the color name from purple to green. All right, one row affected. And now what we should have, our original table should have 2 rows, and then the logging table should also have second record, right? The first the original table will have only 1 row, just the name will be updated, but the logging table will have the second row because the first record was for the insert purpose and now second record for the update purpose. So there will be 2 record in the color log table, and 1 record, the original record, is just getting updated with the value as green. So let's see. Yeah, so see, like the earlier value from yellow, from the purple it is updated with green, and then there are 2 records in the record in the logging table. Likewise, we will apply the delete statement now. Transaction, you understand now what is the purpose. Delete statement will do delete for a particular color. We wanted the original record to be deleted from the table, the color table. So ideally after executing this statement there will be no record left into this table color, and then there will be third record into this color log table, right? So there will be 3 transactions within that. So let's just execute all 3 of them. Right? So there is nothing left in the original table, and then third record is logged into the logging table, right? So everywhere you understand insert, update and delete is rightly performed onto those 3 of this table. After say like suppose say there is a need, maybe for some reason you wanted to disable your trigger, you wanted to perform some operation, you wanted to test some data, and for that reason you just want to get rid of this trigger, because unnecessarily it will just keep on logging those entries into this logging table, which is like cumbersome, or maybe you just need to clean up that data during your testing. Maybe you are applying some development work, right? In that case better to remove during your testing, have it disabled so that it won't be applied and unnecessary logging entry will not go into that transaction table, right? Or that color log table. So how to disable the trigger? Very simple syntax: disable keyword, then trigger, and then give the trigger name. On which table it is defined? It is defined on table color. So thus run it. It will just disable the trigger. After that, whatever statements that you may execute, okay, it will not insert any single entry into the into your logging table. Say like, just for an example to show you, let us just insert, first of all, once again, let us just insert one entry to the color table. Right now, what is the record? What is the result is? We saw already, right? There are 3 records in the logging table and nothing in the color table. Now it should have 1 record, but now the logging table should not have 4th entry within that, right? Because we disable the trigger. So that is what we are expecting when we execute it. So let's just execute this statement, right? So it has incremented the row since we deleted it. There is no truncate. So if you don't forget, if you forgot the concept of delete and difference between the delete and the truncate, then always remember that the delete will retain the identity last value in its memory as per the structure maintained in the memory, so that it will consider the seeding from the last point where the record was inserted in the last. So the first record was inserted already. Even though we had it deleted, it had the counter left at 1. So now the new record has inserted, so it will seed it by 1 and it will become second record. For that reason, there is a 1 record, but still the ID is 2 now. And then if you observe here, there is no record in the login table since we disable the trigger, right? So let's just clean up everything since we do not need everything now. So let's just keep it clean, drop the trigger. Okay, so now let us understand about the instead of trigger, which will be fired when the DML operation is executed, right? So there are 3 points that we need to understand in the case of instead of trigger. That the first point is like the replacing the default action, right? So basically it would be used in the case when you want to replace the execution from instead of executing the commands against the first table, it will be executed against the another object. Basically say like you want to execute the operation onto the view, and instead of applying it onto the view, it would be applied onto the table, right? So that is the first point. Then second one will be like mostly used on the views. In that case, most likely whenever you want to perform some operation on the table, so it won't directly be applied. Instead, we would like to apply it on the views. Why we apply it on views? Because personally identifiable data, or maybe some kind of data that you want to hide it from the external users, or maybe like the business users, right? So you, for the safety or maybe for security reasons, you just encapsulate them in a view, and then you just expose only the required columns out from the view, instead of showing up all the tables or having all the table fields updated, right? So that is the purpose. The third point is like can also be used with the tables for a specific access. So in the case you want to directly apply to a particular table, when there is nothing like a secure data or something, you can still go ahead with that, and in that case it could be applied with that. All right, now let us just create the objects that we are going to need for this particular example. So let us just drop the existing table if there is any created, and then recreate the table. Have the view created also, because we do not have, or we did not create any views earlier. So let's just see to the definition once, like how it gets created. The first one is like create or alter. Create means create, or alter means modification of the view. The name of the view is like dbo.vtbl color. Okay. Now what is the definition? After as keyword, you need to just write the select statement into that. That's it. So that view will be created. I will be covering that in a great detail, but in the subsequent modules. For now, just understand like how to create the views. It's very simple. This way only it will be created. Now let's just create both of these objects first. Okay, so objects are created. Now why am I creating this view first? Because we want to apply the DML operation onto view. Okay, but that operations whatever we'll be performing on this view will internally apply the DML operation onto this table. How? Let us just see to that with the help of a trigger. Okay, so what is the syntax for the trigger? It will be same, one and same, like how we just understood, like what is the syntax? Create, alter, trigger, trigger schema name, then the trigger name on a table or a view. It will be applied for, after, or instead of. So instead of is what we are looking at right now, and then you will put in any individual DML means like insert, update, or delete, or you could combine all three of them together in a single trigger. Okay, and then after as keyword, you will put in the logic or maybe the definition of the trigger. That's it. So we have created the same way, create or alter the trigger, and then the trigger name, and we are passing it on to the table only, view only. So after on keyword, you will write that view name, the view which we just created here, right? VTBL color is what you will write in here. Then you put the keyword called instead of, and then you apply insert comma update comma delete. And after that, as begin, you will start first statement with the so set no count on, as we already know that what it does. So I'll okay, let me just tell like what it will do is basically it will just not count the number of records affected for that, and it will not show up in that case if you just turn it on. Okay, so to omit that, we are writing that statement. Now let us just understand the first kind of way when the insert command will be executed. There is a little bit difference in the previous format of after trigger and in the format of instead of trigger. In the instead of trigger, we would be continuing to use the same both of these virtual tables like the inserted and deleted tables, but now we will be also including the third table, or say like the actual table to which we will be applying the DML operation. Okay, so what will happen, say like from external user, will just execute a command, say like insert update or delete onto this view, but that view, as and when that command is executed, it will come into this trigger definition, and then it will not execute those commands onto that view. Instead, it will come into this view in the trigger, and then it will start to evaluate all this part of the definition. Okay, so in the case of insert statement, it will come up to here, will form the with city, means the common table expression. We will just give it a name called city virtual table, in which we will be just joining up inserted and deleted table like we did in earlier case, like in the after join, right? In the after trigger, the same way we will be putting the same join here. So the see what was the join there? Select from inserted and left join on deleted, where the deleted is null, right? The same join is here. So select from so and so. I'm just basically using two columns. One is the ID column and the other one is the name column. And those are both of these columns are there present in inserted table as well as in the deleted table. So we are trying to expose or trying to put in all those columns into the select list. The ones which are deleted are called deleted ID. Inserted are called insert ID. And then the one which we want to put out of this view is say like a city is what, like the new value that we will be inserting into that table, right? So all of these fields are entered, and then we will be joining them on ID column, right? So okay, so once that is done, then we will just write the simple insert statement. Insert into particular table color name, table color, and the field to which we want to enter the value is the name column, correct? Now here, this is just a debugging part. If you do not want, you can simply just keep it commented, or if you want, let it be open. Okay, it's your choice. But just for your as you already understood, we covered up in 7.1 previous session, right? That how this output clause is being used and how it is helpful to you when you execute such kind of statements. Then this would be handy to debug and to understand like what this virtual table will be containing within, right? So that is why I'm just keeping it for your understanding, so that you could do any troubleshooting if you need to with the help of this output clause. Fine. And any of the virtual tables could be used, any of this meaning inserted or deleted only, right? No other tables field that you would try to use. Okay, so that's it. And let's just try the select just understand the select from. So here the city, first of all we will be using the city virtual table, and from which, like where the deleted ID will be null, because see here there is nothing is updated or nothing is deleted, so there will be no point of referring to deleted, so that there will be null ID will be there in that case, right? So that we have written the same condition where deleted ID is null. So basically the where clause, ideally if this was the only two condition, this is the only statement that we have to write, then this where clause could be directly after this only. But here we want it to be combined or clubbed with the another additional table, which is the table color, right? For that purpose, we are writing it in the outside logic here. Now, after checking this is null condition, what we would like to check is, in addition to that, we should also make sure that the field name, or say like the color name that you inserted once to that table, should not be entered or should not be allowed to enter again into the same field. Means, so say like table color, we inserted say like purple color, or maybe any other color, maybe yellow or blue or any color. So after inserting a one color into that table, it will never allow the user to have the same color added once again, because it will be a duplicate color, correct? And we want always the distinct color records in the particular table, right? For that reason, what we will be doing here is, we will be just allowing only the user to put the distinct entries, and for that reason it is making sure that not exist. So the color whichever has been inserted by the user or provided by the user, if it is not matching to the existing table related colors, then and then only do the insert, otherwise it will just skip it. Okay, then second case, all right. So then the second case, let us understand about the update command, how it would work in the update. In the case of update, it will have the entry both the tables inserted and deleted. Inserted will have the updated values, deleted will have the old values or the previous values, correct? So for that reason, there will be inner join applied onto that. Previously we applied only the left join while, because the inserted had the data and deleted did not have it. Here it will both have the data. For that reason, we will use the inner join, and then we will join up on the ID columns here. All right. Now, after that regular statement as update, we want to update the name column. We want to use the column value. Which column value we want to use? Inserted tables, insert ins value, means the name column value from inserted table, right? That is what we have given an alias as ins value. That is what we are inserting it here. Now this is for the output again. We just want to output that what was the deleted ID, means the old record ID, and what is the new record ID. Both ID, eventually both the IDs will remain same or will be same, but just for the sake of understanding, or maybe for your debugging or troubleshooting purpose, I am keeping this output clause here. From the table name will remain same, table color, inner join would happen on my CTE, which is the virtual table, correct? We'll apply the join on the deleted ID, because deleted ID is an existing ID, and it will be matched with what? It will be matched with the color, the table colors ID. Both of them will match because the IDs will remain same. There is no change, only just the name is what we are updating, fine. So, and then what we will compare again, vt.del deleted value, means the old value. So the old value and the present value in the table color, both of them will be identical. Okay, so the new value that you inserted, or the new value that you are passing to be updated, is what being held by ins value, which is the inserted table value, and that is what we are checking here in the where clause. So make sure that all of them is matching, and make sure the new value that you are passing is also not there in the table. We are again checking in the update statement that the new value that user is passing should not be the existing value out of the entire table, correct? Because otherwise again it will be repeated, that we do not want. And for that reason, we are making sure that where not exist will check what? It will never allow this statement being, if the statement is existing, means then this update will not happen. Only if this statement is not existing, then and then only it will go and update the statement or update the record. Otherwise it will not update it. Okay, if there is any single record matching to the existing value, the new value whatever you have it provided, and if that value is matching with any of the existing values, it will not execute this update statement. Okay, clear? So now let us go on to the delete command. Delete command, again both of the same tables, inserted and deleted table. Only just the sides we do not want to swap, so just change the type of join. Instead of let join, because there is no data in the inserted, we are just deleting the record, there is no update, there is no insert, so simply just use the deleted. Deleted will just have the deleted record, so simply right join will bring up all the records from the deleted, and then what will be happening is inserted record will have no ID because there is no record in that table. So that is null condition for that inserted table is what we are writing outside of this city, since the city itself is going to come up here in the join, correct, in the inner join. And the original table we will keep in the from clause. We will be just putting the output clause for our understanding, like what record we are deleting or we are about to delete, so that will help you understand. And then we will be joining upon the existing ID of the table color and then the deleted table's ID column. Both of these columns are joined up and checking that there is no records in the inserted table. That's it. So let's just execute this entire definition. All right, so it's executed. Now let us check one by one or test it one by one. First of all, we will try to insert the record yellow, the color yellow into the view. We are inserting the record into the view. Via view, we are trying to insert a record which is actually not going to perform anything to that view, but internally it will go and execute the record and insert the record into the table color, so that we will check both the tables, which table has got affected, right? So let's just see. So first value is the insert. This is for the update, and this is for the delete. So insert ID is what we are exposing with the help of output clause, is what we are able to see here, inserted ID, right? So that is what it is showing up here, that one will be ID, that is what is inserted, and the ID value is yellow, correct? So we are fine for that first test. Now let us test the another condition for the update command. Now what we want to achieve is we want to update the same record with a new color name, correct? So how can we do that? Write the update statement, give the alias here, set set the name column equals to green from table name, the view name, and then give the alias where clause and then the ID. ID will be what? Because there is only one record, so we already know that there is first record to which we want to update it as green. So for that reason we will be passing as ID equals to 1 and then update. Okay, and then parallelly we will just again run the same table to see like if the existing record which has the yellow value, if it is updated with the green value or not. Let's just run to see. Correct. So earlier the case was insert. So in the case insert, we found that ID as 1. Now it is update. So in the case of update, we have the old value stored in the deleted table. It will have the one ID, ID as 1, and then the new table which is inserted record where the updated value is going to be inserted. Then it will also have the same ID because the same record is there. And then deleted will not be applied. Only just the first record is updated with the green value. Fine. Everything is perfect. Now the same way we will be applying the deleted statement. Now with the delete, so with the delete statement, we will be applying the virtual. We will be giving the view name from the view name where the view will be the alias, and then where clause will be just passing for the first record. So basically what we are doing is here we inserted the new record, here we updated the same record, and now we are going to remove the same record, right? So basically there will be no record remain in the output here, and here first time you will find the deleted ID equals to 1, correct? So let's just execute it. Right? So we found one ID and then there is no record here, right? Because it has deleted the record. Now, all of these are true, but what we want to achieve now? We want to see if user again executes the same color, or if user tries to insert the same record, would it insert the same record to the table and will keep on keep on adding the duplicate values or not? Let us just test that as well, right? Since we do not have any records left in the table, consider say we are re-adding the same entries, but it will have the increment by the second record. Consider say incremented by second, but only one record. Now again we will execute the same insert statement to make sure if it is inserting the same record twice or not. See, it's not allowing it, correct? There is only one record. It's restricting the user to insert the same record twice for the yellow color, right? So that is what the integrity that we are ensuring with the help of a trigger, correct? So always helpful in this case. Second case is like the update. We will try to update it. It will apply the update. Okay, here we need to change the ID because here the ID has become 1 to 2, and then we will just update this statement. All right, so it has updated, got the IDs, everything is fine, and then we will apply the delete onto that. Okay, again we have to change the ID here. That will be deleted. Fine. So everything is cleaned up. Now what we want to do is we want to try adding something additional. Say like we just disabled this trigger. Now what will happen? Just see. Okay, we just okay, let me just run it here. All right, so we just executed the disable trigger. So what will happen is now trigger is disabled. Now it should do what? It will allow the duplicate entries. Let us just test that. I will just keep on executing it. It will keep on appending the additional rows below that. See the magic, right? This is what is happening. So when you do not have the triggers applied, this can happen. You are not making sure that whether the user should allow the same record to be inserted twice or thrice, and that way the integrity will be not maintained, and then duplicates will be inserted accidentally or deliberately, right? So always beneficial if you have the triggers enabled. So now let us check that how many records were inserted. 11 records were inserted. And then what we want to try now, what we want to enable the trigger. So how can you do that? How we did the disable the trigger? Disable trigger and then the trigger name on the particular table or the view name. Okay, and then say go, so that the command will be executed. After that, if you want to enable it after your testing or maybe your testing thing is completed, you turn it back on, right? So that your regular process will be continued after your testing. So we will enable the trigger. All right, so it's enabled now. And now if you try to insert any further records, it will never allow it to insert. See, after 11 it will never become 12. See, it is blocked, right? That's the magic. Okay, fine. So we understood now how this instead of trigger is used and how it can be used. So after our work is done, always try to clean up and make sure that you do not mess up anything, and you clean up rightly, because that will be more important. So let's just drop this trigger. So we dropped it. Okay, and let's drop the additional objects that we created thereby, because we do not need them. All right, that's fine. I mean, drop the view if you want to. Okay, right. All right, so now let us just move on to the second kind. Okay, so let's just understand about the logon trigger now. So it's a special kind of DDL trigger that we have, right? And it fires after the authentication phase of the SQL Server login. The before the user session is fully established, it gets created. Okay, so it's effective basically in that case. Like, and for multiple purpose we could use this logon triggers. Out of those, I have just listed few of them. Which is like it could be used for the tracking logins for auditing purpose, then restricting the access of a user or for a particular login, and enforcing the policies, maybe like limiting the concurrent sessions per user, right? So let's just see, like by creating one of the user first. So we will be creating one user named called dev user. Okay, let me disconnect all the queries priorly if I had it created. So then we will have the session for SQL user only. All right, and now we will just run and create this user, drop and create this user. Okay, this user is already present, it says, right? So in order to do that, what we might have to do is we might have to disconnect all the queries first. We have to disconnect all the connections first, see that if there is any dev users are present or that previously created users login present, then see them by your SQL sysadmin account, because my SQL user is what I am using is having sysadmin access. Okay, let me just show you that one. All right, so my database security, go to the user, SQL user. I'll show you that what it has is the sysadmin access. Okay, so sysadmin role is given to that user, so using that only we will be creating this dev user. Okay, before that we will just drop this user. Okay, if it doesn't get stopped, then what we might have to do is, we know that, right? We first of all we have to drop anything whichever was created earlier, or any of the existing connections we might have to kill, and then only that user can be dropped, right? So first of all, let us just drop that user. Okay, so the user is dropped now, and now let us create it fresh from the beginning. All right, so in case you do not have user created, say, okay, now first of all, for a triggers testing purpose, what we will be doing is we will create one user in our development environment. Okay, so that before we move it in the production directly, we might cause any issues to that. So better to test it in the development environment. Create a user with a name called dev user, or any name that you would be giving or interested to give. Then give a password precisely. You could go by the login from here as well, or else you could write a script here like this, and then say like must change. Why? Because you want the user to like by default the administrator will set up some password for giving it to the user, and the moment user will use this password very first time, it will ask the user to change the password, right? For that reason, this must change option is to be passed, and then the check expiration is need to be on as per the server policy, right? So let us just consider all of this in a single command, and then we will be applying the grant for what? Grant to view the server state to this particular user, right? So we will be giving a permission to the user to view the server state. Okay, so let's just execute everything together with the help of user SQL, right? Okay, so now since the user is created, we should see that user in the logins available, correct? Now the user is there. Fine. So now what we will do is, first of all, we will try to create the trigger. Okay, so first of all we'll try to create the logon trigger for the user. So let's just see the definition first. In case you have the trigger already available in the system, then you need to drop it first of all. So drop trigger if exists, and then the trigger name on whatever server specifically, if you know, then give that server, or if it is all server, then just say all server. Okay, so then it will remove that trigger. Okay, now we will create this trigger. Now create or alter both are like create or update the trigger definition, right? So alter is then alteration of the trigger. Then the trigger name on all the servers, right? Earlier it was like table or a view, in that case the DML trigger case, but here in the DDL case it will be applied to the server level, right? Because it's a DDL, the server level access, right? Or the database level kind of thing. So now we will be creating this user trigger with the help of a user, because it will be created by the user that we just created, right? So the dev user for which we are creating this trigger, you are using that dev users access or say login, we are creating this trigger. All right, and for it is for the purpose of log on, and then say the definition of it entirely. So set the no countdown, just to disable the counting of the transactions or listing down the transactions, right? So disable that first. Create a declare a variable for login name. By default the data type sysname will give me the original login in the sense, like say if it could be SQL user, it could be maybe Windows authentication, then your like the domain name and then the username, right? That would be the combination of the value that you will fetch in the login name. Then the host name, whatever will be the host name, then app name, all of those information with the help of the system functions we will be holding up values using the nvarchar data type, and then hold them in the variables, so that if it is required, for now let's say just we do not want only just say like we want the first one, we just want to say we want to use only the first variable. Okay, so let's just comment or say like this is for information sake. If you want to see, you could see, or you could just print it in the output, so that you can see like when the login happened, then what was the host for that login, what was the app through which like that login was raised, right? So all of that you can see. Even the session, like say like in the current thing, the current session is 51, right? The user, and this is like in the bracket that you see, it's the session is what you can find using the help of with the help of SPID. Okay, so that is the purpose of that. So let me just say this one only and comment, or maybe just get rid of the rest of the one. Okay, we do not want all of that. Okay, for now let's say just focus only on this variable login name. Now this variable will give me the login name. Say I have created a user called dev user, so I am creating this trigger with the help of the same trigger the user, and the same login is what I am checking here, and then I am checking like and condition, and then checking the system DM view. Okay, dynamic management view, like what is the purpose of that is, like it is checking the executing sessions. It will give me the information of an executing sessions where the process is equal to where the process is marked equal to 1, user process is marked equal to 1, and then the original login name will be the same user using which we will be creating this, right? So if you want to just check like whether this user has any open connection maybe in the system or from other systems, right? So from the same system or from other system, then you can run this view to see that that whether there is any open connection or any sleeping connection, right? So let's just run to see. All right, so we do not see any open session for that particular login, right? So now we are safe in that case. So what we are trying to achieve here is we are trying to check the count of sessions which are opened using the dev user. Okay, so say like how many new windows, maybe like a new query windows, how many windows it can that user has it opened, or maximum window that user can open, is what we are checking over here with the help of this command. Okay, So we are checking select count star, meaning like the total number of sessions which are open using this dev user should not be greater than 4. Okay, if it is greater than 4, then what it has to do, it is what we are mentioning it in this print statement. What we are telling to the user, or maybe to the in the error log, how we would be returning is, we are saying in the error log, say that login attempt denied for a particular user when he tried the maximum number of connections which reached to the point, right? So that some of the users are given the unlimited access, then it will overhead, it will be an unnecessary overhead to the server, right? So to limit that, DBS, or say database administrator, or maybe the person who is administering your SQL Server management studio, or through the management studio, or maybe whoever is like managing your cloud systems, he will take care of the managing these connections to the server, right? And to limit that connections to the server, we can limit the user's access, or we can limit the number of connections for to the server, right? So this way we could notify to the user, or maybe the server admin will cancel his opening his attempt to close open the connection to the new session. Okay, so maximum 4 sessions will be allowed, after which if he will try any new session to open, it will be rolled back, or say like it will be denied. Okay, so let's say like this is the condition to check that if the user is this, and then the count, if it is greater than 4, then what to do, print this message and then just do the rollback. Okay, rollback is used to just revert his access or attempt, means it will deny the access. Okay, so and after that you if you begin this condition, because there are more than one statement, so as per our standard rule, like whenever you check the if condition, you need to have more than one statements covered within the begin and end block. For that reason we are keeping them in a block, and then you close the main block of your trigger. Okay, so then your definition is ready to go. So let's just create this first of all. Okay, so definition is created now. Now what we will be doing is first of all we will just change the current window session, because this current window, that whatever like the current session that is connected to which user, it is connected to SQL user. We do not want to keep that user being used, we want to use the new user that we just created. Okay, so let's just change the connection and try logging using the new user, right? So dev user is what we created, and we will be using that user's password there. Okay, if there are more than one connection, then it could be the case. So let me just check. Okay, if not, then what could be the issue here is, first of all we need to make sure, like if the user when it was created, we did not open the connection to reset the password, it could be the case, right? So what we need to do is, first of all, go close the existing connections, try logging the dev user. If it is not logging me in, what did I use in the password? Let me just try with this. Okay, dev user. Okay, right, yeah, so it's asking me to reset the password for that user. So dev user, I'm just giving the password. All right, after that you say okay, so the session is created, or say login is open. Now what we will do is, we will try to set this window or connect this window to that newly created user. Okay, now it will allow us, right? Okay, it has connected to the current user. All right, so now let us just once again see if it has connected to that current user or not. If it has been using the previous way, because I had the password saved, for that reason it could be causing the previously saved password information. So let me just change the updated password that I just added, and then then save it. Okay, so now I think it's saying that it's not a valid password here. It's not picking up. Okay, so let us just check first of all, like how many sessions are there open for that user. See, what is the reason? Because there are already 4 sessions it is showing up for that user, and for that reason it's not letting us to have more window open, because it is considering already 4 sessions are there. So if we attempt to change the current session or current window from the open connection to the new connection, then it will throw an exception. To do that, what can we do now is we first of all need to kill any of the existing connections which are no longer used. Let us just close this connection first. Okay, let us close that. We will go to the SQL Server with the SQL user. First of all, we'll go back to that. Then we will go to we will pick up the session ID column. Okay, just pick up the session ID column. See like the processes, or see the status column. Okay, first of all, say like see the ones which are in the sleeping mode. Okay, and just keep the running ones. Okay, so let us just copy the session IDs from there. Okay, and then paste it here. Okay, so then what we will do is basically we will kill those sessions so that new connection could be open for that, right? Okay. All right, first of all we will try to disconnect all these connections for that dev user, and then connect the user to the SQL user. Okay, so that we will be sysadmin for that, and then we will have more privileges for that user's session to be killed. So now we will again run this statement to see like if we are having the same number of sessions open or there is any change, right? So now we are seeing 3 sessions are there, all of them are in the sleeping mode. So we will kill 52, 55 and 56, right? All 3 of them we will just kill them. All right, so all of them are gone. And now if you just run again to see that, all the sessions should be gone, right? So now we are fine to open up the new sessions fresh from the beginning. So what we will do is we will keep this session open over here, and then just try to connect the dev user by changing from the current window itself. Okay, so let's just connect to dev user. It's connected one window. Okay, now we will connect to one more window, then it is connected, then one more window, right? This is 3, one more window, this is 4, one more window which is 5. That's where it is throwing up the error, correct? Because as per our logic, it will allow only the maximum number of windows. How many windows it will allow? Only less than or only greater than only less than 4 only, or less than or equal to 4 only. If there are more than 4 windows or new sessions, if you try to attempt, means if it is 5 or more than 5, then it will throw you the message, and it will deny the connection basically. So it did not allow us to connect, right? See, it is disconnected. So how many sessions are open currently? Dev user, which is first, then this is second, this is third, this is fourth, and fifth one was rejected. So now if you go back to see that running sessions for that particular user, then you will see 4 connections, right? That is what we are seeing now. So 52, 53, 55 and 56. So let us just confirm. 52 is the current one, 53 will be this, 55 which is this, and then the fourth one is 56, right? So all four of them are there in this result, 55 to 52 to 56, right? And now the last one was to be closed, right? It is of no use. So now what we need to do is how the message, you will say like it did not throw any message when it denied to the fourth attempt or fifth attempt to open the new session for the connection, right? Where will that be logged? How will you understand, right? So to check that, we need to go to the table, we need to go to the store procedure. Okay, we need to go to the store procedure. Which one is that? Like there is a system store procedure for that. Okay, so there is a store procedure called sp read error log. It's a SQL Server system error logging store procedure. Okay, so if you just execute it, right, so it will show you all the logs based on the date from when the server has started, and just go till the bottom of the entire thing. Okay, and that's where you should see that error message that you have sent, correct? So the moment I did the wrong password and all, right, it has thrown an exception saying that password did not match for it. And then for the rest of them, like it has shown up the correct messages, right? Log on attempt close. What was the message there? Yeah, login attempt denied for so and so user, maximum number of connection reached, right? So maximum number of connections reached, like here, right? So that is what we can check with the help of this sp read error log. Okay, now if you want to disable this connection, or and you want to open up multiple connections, right, to the server, what you need to do is you need to just go and execute this disable. You want to disable this logon error, logon trigger. Okay, could not because it doesn't exist or we don't have permission. Okay, now to disable that, we need to be yeah, since we have got we were exhausted the connections for that, so it will not allow us to execute this to disable the trigger. We need to go back to change the SQL user. Okay, we need to go back to the original user and then try to say disable it. Okay, so it will be disabled, and then if then we will just again check the connections for the dev user, right? How many connections are there? 3 connections we see, right? How, which ones are there? 53, 55 and 56, right? 3, 5 and 6. Okay, so what we will do is we will kill all of those. 53, 55, 56, right? All 3 of them we will kill those sessions. All right, so now we should no longer see any session for this current user, correct? All of them are gone. And now let us just close all these open windows for that user. Okay, and now we will try to open up using that login only, right? So now we will check like the change connection to the dev user. It will allow me as many connections as I want. This is first, this is second connection, this was first, this is second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth, this is seventh, right? None of these sessions are stopping me to open the new windows or new sessions for each of the connections, right? So now if you go back to the original window and see like how many open sessions are there for that user, you could see just by running this view sys.dm_exec_sessions, where each user process equal to 1 and original login name equal to dev user. So you will see that. All right, so how many? 7, right? 7 windows we opened and all of them are available over here. Only one will remain active, the one which is open in the current. So that is what is active, 51, right? So that is what is showing us as a running status. Otherwise the rest of the windows will go into the sleeping mode or say sleeping status. Okay, so always check that three important columns: status column is user process and then the original login name. Other columns are also there. If you want to go through that, you could go through that, like original login name, then session ID, what was the login time, host name, like which system, what is the host name to the system, what's the program name, and then the host process ID, client ID, multiple information will be there, right? The information is of your use, like whatever is of your use, then you try to showcase a kind of suitable message as per your need. But for now, for the example sake, we understood now like how it can be used, right? So these all are the available columns to you, so that you can restrict the user according to that. Okay, all right. So now always remember that, like if you want to terminate those existing sessions, then this is the command using which you can just kill the process number. Process number will be in the brackets, right? In the parenthesis, like 51, what you see. That is what my current session. So it will not allow you any time to kill the current sessions. Only the sleeping sessions you can kill from the administration side. Okay. So then we just saw that how to disable it, and if you want to enable, then just change the swap the keyword from disable to enable. Rest the keyword will remain same. Enable trigger, then trigger name on all servers, and then say go. Okay, so that is what we will not apply it again. We will just have to drop basically this connection. So first of all, we'll just change this back to the let's just see if it works out, then fine. Not, then we will just have to turn it back, right? It doesn't work, so then we might have to go back to the SQL authentication. The account which will have the sysadmin permission, it will only allow you to drop the trigger. Okay, so let us just go and run this. Right, so the trigger is dropped now. Now what we will do, after everything is complete, drop the user. If you would like to continue with the same user, you can keep it in your systems. For now, I just want to drop this user. Okay, so this user is dropped. So nothing should be available for that user now. Okay, I shouldn't be seeing that login here anymore, and if at all I am seeing it here, I need to go manually delete it, right? It will not. Why? Because all the open sessions are connected to that user only, right? So we need to close all the open sessions for that user. Let me close. Even though it was disconnected or sleeping, still it will consider it as connected only, right? Because the session it had it open. Now let us see how many sessions are still open for that. Nothing is left now, right? So now if you go back and try to drop this user, it will work. Okay, so go here and then try to drop or delete. Okay, it's gone. So now you are fine with that. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to cover into this session. Thank you.